I could only guess it, too, had some type of power that would only be revealed to me when I needed it. Alyssa had been guiding me through the pitfalls of my new identity, and although she often wasn't allowed to explain why I should or shouldn't do something, she nudged me in the safer direction. Still astounded at the thought that I now had to worry about making a faux pas that might be fatal rather than just socially offensive, I put the truck in gear and headed home. I lived in Pandora's lovely, old, pale lemon 3-story house. It had gingerbread trim and a wraparound porch and was filled with vintage treasures. Sounded good, right? Except my taste ran to more modern surroundings, and it, too, was something I wasn't allowed to sell for unknown reasons. Nevertheless, I had to admit both the house and truck were growing on me. After parking in the garage, I made my way through the back door. I took a second to grab an apple from the bowl on the kitchen counter, then sprinted into the master bedroom to change from jeans and the store insignia polo shirt into a more businesslike outfit. Sadly, I no longer had much of a wardrobe. When I had fled Chicago, I could only pack a fraction of my designer outfits, clothes I had only been able to purchase because I worked as a fashion consultant in a shishi boutique on the Magnificent Mile and was able to use my employee discount, which included first choice of the markdowns. Although being a sales clerk had never been my life's goal, when my mom got sick while I was in graduate school, I needed the money for her bills. I had never gone back to complete my PhD in English, which meant if it hadn't been for my insane ex-boyfriend and my mysterious inheritance, I probably would have been selling the latest styles to the Windy City's rich and vapid until I snagged a wealthy husband or my mother told me the truth about my past, neither of which would have happened in my lifetime. Which brings me back to why I was having tea with Callista Pendergast and Ramona Furman today. From what I could tell, they were two of Echo Springs' most powerful women, and I hoped one of them could tell me how to rescue my mother. Chapter 2. The Power of 3. When I emerged from the bedroom wearing a pair of dark wool slacks with a black and white striped blouse, I hurried into the front parlor. It faced the street and was furnished in delicate antiques. The exquisite oriental carpet had a single set of footprints. I assumed they belonged to my cousin, Alyssa, because arranged on the large rosewood coffee table were a silver tray with a teapot, a creamer, a sugar bowl, and a plate for lemon slices. Next to the tray were 3 cups, saucers, and teaspoons. On the other side were small plates, flatware, and delicately embroidered linen napkins. A platter held tiny sandwiches in fancy shapes, various kinds of nut breads, cakes, pastries, and cookies. When my cousin had suggested that I talk to Callista and Ramona about my problem, she had offered to provide the refreshments. Alyssa had also offered some advice. For my safety, I should see both women together and provide them with as few details as possible. Before arriving in Echo Springs and learning my family's secrets, I would have thought my cousin was paranoid. However, once I'd accepted the fact that I was the Ravenscraft Shield and had to protect myself from the master of the corrupt magic who would try to steal my abilities, I listened closely to any little nuggets of wisdom Alyssa bestowed on me. I had yet to figure out the identity of the leader of the dark side, and until I did and was able to capture his or her powers, my very existence was touch and go. Unable to risk being alone with either Callista or Ramona, the only solution was to invite them to a little tea party. Together, even if one of them was the villain, the other woman's presence would foil any plan the baddie had to harm me. At least, that was the plan. With the parlor ready to entertain my guests, I grabbed the teapot, rushed into the kitchen, filled the kettle from the tap, and put it on the stove to heat up. As I waited, I warmed the teapot, then spooned Earl Grey into it. I had just poured the hot water over the